we are currently losing uh, 3.3 billion years of healthy human life every single year.
Yeah, it is a truly staggering figure.
Right. And it's not to some novel virus and not to like a massive chemical spill or something. It's basically because we are fundamentally starving our biology by hiding from the sun.
We really are. I mean, we've constructed this entire modern narrative where sunlight is treated almost exclusively as an environmental hazard.
Totally.
And, while there are legitimate reasons for caution, obviously, that hyper-focus on the danger has created a massive public health blind spot.
And that blind spot is exactly what we are pulling apart today. Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone.
Glad to be here.
So to give you some context, today we were looking at a course article titled The Guide to Sunlight.
Right.
It comes from the My-Nutri-Diary app, which is this nutrition and fitness platform designed as a coach for healthy aging.
It's a great resource.
It is. And our mission for this deep dive is to completely reevaluate your biological relationship with sunlight.
Because it needs reevaluating.
Exactly. We want to cut through the fear-based media narrative, look at the actual hormonal and metabolic mechanisms at play, and figure out the genuine balance required to age well.
And to do that properly, I think we have to start by validating where that fear comes from in the first place.
Yeah, let's establish the baseline.
Right. So the article doesn't just dismiss the risks. It clearly cites the World Health Organization's well-established warnings.
Which we all know.
Right. We know that overexposure to ultraviolet radiation physically damages cellular DNA.
It leads to premature skin aging.
Exactly. It causes cataracts and, it is a primary driver of skin cancer.
Right. Those are the facts that drive all the skincare commercials and public health campaigns.
Definitely.
But then the text pivots to the other side of the equation, right? The side that rarely makes the evening news.
The systemic dangers of underexposure.
Exactly. The source links lack of sunlight to musculoskeletal deterioration and increased risk for severe autoimmune diseases like multiple sclerosis.
Which is wild.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Plus various internal cancers and even skin conditions like psoriasis.
Yeah.
So we have this tension. Sunlight can damage us, but a lack of sunlight can also severely damage us.
And this is where the My-Nutri-Diary text introduces this brilliant analytical tool to help us weigh those two realities against each other.
Right, the dailies.
Yes, they use a metric from the Global Burden of Disease study called a DAILY. That stands for Disability Adjusted Life Year.
Okay, let's unpack this, because understanding the mechanism of a daily completely changes how you look at public health.
It really does.
It's not just a body count, is it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, mortality statistics only tell you how many people died. A DAILY is designed to quantify the total burden of human suffering.
So it's broader.
Much broader. One daily equals one lost year of perfectly healthy human life. The calculation combines two distinct metrics: years of life lost due to premature death, plus years lived with a disability.
Right, so it accounts for chronic suffering. Like, if a condition doesn't kill you, but leaves you in severe pain or drastically reduces your mobility for, say, 20 years, that is captured in the daily data.
Correct. It assigns a weight to different disabilities. So losing 10 years of life to a fatal heart attack is 10 dailies.
Oh, okay.
But living for 20 years with severe debilitating arthritis that strips away your independence, that could also equate to a massive loss of dailies.
It gives us a unified way to measure the true toll a risk factor takes on human potential.
Exactly.
So with that holistic picture in mind, let's look at the numbers the article actually presents.
Yeah, prepare yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
When researchers calculate the global burden of UV overexposure, so all the sunburns, the melanomas, the cataracts, it accounts for an estimated 1.6 million dailies lost annually.
1.6 million years of healthy life erased every single year. I mean, it is a very serious global health issue.
It absolutely is. But then we flip the coin and look at UV underexposure.
This is the crazy part.
The global health burden of populations simply not getting enough natural sunlight. The estimated toll there is 3.3 billion abilities lost annually.
The disparity is almost difficult to wrap your head around.
Yeah, 1.6 million versus 3.3 billion. It's like panicking over a leaky faucet while ignoring a completely flooded basement.
That is a perfect analogy.
So how does this immense gap fundamentally change how we should view our daily sunlight habits?
Well, what's fascinating here is that this data definitively proves that the health benefits of an appropriate amount of sun far outweigh the risks.
It's not even close.
No, not at all. The benefits of appropriate sun exposure don't just slightly edge out the risks, they completely dwarf them.
So we have established this 3.3 billion daily deficit. The immediate question for me is, like, What is actually breaking down in our bodies when we live in permanent shade?
And the article points straight to vitamin D.
Right, but it frames it in a way that feels very different from how we talk about other vitamins.
Yeah, because the name vitamin D is actually a bit of a historical misnomer.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Unlike vitamin C or vitamin A, which we literally have to absorb through our diet, vitamin D is actually a prohormone that our own bodies synthesize.
Oh, wow.
Your skin isn't just a passive barrier, In the presence of sunlight, it acts as an active endocrine organ.
I want to dig into the actual biology of that synthesis.
Yeah.
Because the efficiency the text describes is just wild.
It's incredible.
How is the skin manufacturing a hormone from light?
It's a really elegant biological mechanism. So the outer layers of your skin, the epidermis, contain a high concentration of a specific cholesterol derivative called 7-dehydrocholesterol.
Okay, cholesterol.
Right. When UVB radiation from the sun penetrates the skin, the energy from those light waves physically breaks a carbon bond in that cholesterol molecule.
It literally breaks a bond.
Yes, converting it into something called pre-vitamin D3.
Ah.
And from there, the ambient heat of your own body triggers a thermal isomerization process, turning it into active vitamin D3, which then enters your bloodstream.
And the volume of production is staggering. Like, the article notes that for someone with pale skin, exposing uncovered skin to the midday sun for just 30 minutes can trigger the release of up to 50,000 international units of vitamin D.
It is a massive biochemical response.
Yeah.
And that production scales depending on your skin pigmentation.
Right, the melanin.
Exactly. Melanin, which gives skin its color, acts as a highly effective natural sunblock, absorbing and scattering those UVD rays.
So it slows down the synthesis.
Right. So that same 30-minute exposure for someone with tan skin might produce 20,000 to 30,000 IU.
Got it.
And for individuals with darker skin tones, it produces about 8,000 to 10,000 IU. The darker your skin, the longer your evolutionary ancestors lived near the equator, meaning your biology requires more time in the sun to generate the same yield.
And what is the body doing with this massive influx of vitamin D? Because the text heavily emphasizes bone health as a cornerstone of healthy aging.
Yes, specifically how this hormone regulates calcium and phosphate.
Right.
Because without adequate vitamin D, your intestines simply cannot absorb the calcium from the food you eat.
Wow.
Yeah, no matter how much milk you drink or spinach you consume, your body will literally start mining calcium out of your own skeleton to maintain blood levels.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
That leads to osteoporosis and fractures, right?
Exactly. But the article stresses that the receptors for vitamin D aren't just in your bones.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, they are found in almost every tissue in the body.
The systemic impact is huge. The text notes its critical role in regulating the neuromuscular system and the immune system.
Huge role.
We are talking about active, preventative, and therapeutic effects against severe autoimmune disorders like type 1 diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and even various infectious diseases.
Because it modulates the immune response, It helps prevent the immune system from attacking the body's own tissues while simultaneously enhancing its ability to fight off external pathogens.
Yeah, okay. I am putting myself in the shoes of someone listening to this right now.
Yeah.
The recommended daily intake for adults mentioned in the text is roughly 600 to 800 IU per day.
Right.
If my goal is just to hit that 800 IU mark and going in the sun risks UV damage, why shouldn't I just bypass the skin entirely?
Oh, I see where you're going.
I mean, I can stay in my climate-controlled office, avoid the 1.6 million daily risk of skin cancer, and just swallow a 1,000 IU vitamin D pill with my morning coffee. Why is the article so insistent on natural synthesis?
Well, this raises an important question because that is the ultimate modern wellness trap.
Really?
Yes, the idea that we can isolate a single chemical, ingest it, and perfectly mimic a complex environmental interaction.
It's just not that simple, is it?
Never. The My-Nutri-Diary text highlights a critical, often ignored danger, the toxicity of oversupplementation.
Oh, wow.
When you swallow an oral vitamin D supplement, you are entirely bypassing the skin's natural regulatory mechanisms.
Wait, how does the skin regulate it? Like if pale skin produces 50,000 IU in 30 minutes, what happens if that person stays on the beach for 2 hours?
Right.
Why don't they overdose on natural sunlight?
Because the system has an automatic shut-off valve.
Really?
Yeah. When UVB radiation converts that cholesterol into pre-vitamin D3, there is a maximum threshold.
Okay.
Once your skin reaches equilibrium, Continued exposure to sunlight actually begins to break down the excess pre-vitamin D3 into inert metabolites.
Inert meaning they don't do anything.
Right, compounds like lumistrol and tachysterol, which are just harmlessly shed as your skin cells naturally flake off.
That is amazing.
The sun destroys the excess it creates. You can never achieve toxic levels of vitamin D through sun exposure alone.
That is an incredible evolutionary safeguard. And you're saying pills completely lack that fail-safe.
Completely. When you flood your digestive tract with high-dose oral supplements, your body absorbs it directly into the liver and fat tissues.
Yikes.
And the text warns that this can quickly lead to hypercalcemia, which is a dangerous spike in blood calcium levels.
What does a calcium spike actually do to the body?
Well, in the short term, it causes severe nausea, vomiting, and kidney damage as the organs struggle to filter the mineral excess.
That sounds rough.
But in the context of healthy aging, the long-term risk is far more insidious.
How so?
The source points to increasing clinical evidence that excessive intake of oral vitamin D can actually promote atherosclerosis.
Oh, wait. Atherosclerosis.
Yeah. The excess calcium literally starts depositing into the walls of your arteries, hardening and narrowing the very vessels you need to keep your heart healthy.
So attempting to biohack our way out of simply going outside could inadvertently calcify our arteries.
Basically, yeah. Now, the text does acknowledge that supplements have a time and a place.
Right, like in winter.
Exactly. If you live in a high latitude and it's the dead of winter, oral supplementation can prevent severe deficiency, though it should ideally be monitored by a doctor.
Fair enough.
But the fundamental takeaway is that a pill cannot safely replicate the holistic, self-regulating process of natural solar synthesis.
And honestly, the biological need for the sun goes way deeper than our skin and our bones anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
The article shifts focus from physical structure to cognitive function. It positions sunlight as the primary regulator for our hormones, specifically in dictating how our brains perceive time.
This brings us to the mechanics of the circadian rhythm.
Yes.
Our sleep-wake cycle isn't just an abstract concept, It's a physical process governed by light.
Right.
Deep inside the brain, we have a cluster of nerves called the suprachiasmatic nucleus.
Supra what now?
Suprachiasmatic nucleus. It's essentially the master biological clock, and its primary input is light hitting the retina of your eyes.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's use the analogy of a solar-powered clock.
Okay, I like that.
The brain is this incredibly sophisticated timepiece that governs when every organ in your body should power up or power down.
Right.
But the clock doesn't have an internal battery. It relies entirely on the solar panels of your eyes to know what time of day it is.
That analogy perfectly illustrates the mechanism. When bright, natural morning light hits your retina, it sends a direct electrical signal to that clock.
Setting the time.
Yes. The clock then signals the pineal gland to actively halt the production of melatonin.
Melatonin being the hormone that initiates sleep and cellular repair.
Yes. So bright light actively suppresses the sleep signal while simultaneously triggering a healthy, natural pulse of cortisol to make you alert and energized for the day.
Wow.
Conversely, when the sun goes down and light fades, the inhibition is lifted, melatonin floods the system, and your core body temperature drops to prepare for deep, restorative sleep.
Which perfectly explains the incredible danger of the modern indoor lifestyle the text warns about.
Exactly.
Like if you wake up in a dim bedroom, walk to your car in the garage, and spend 8 hours in a windowless office under fluorescent lights, you are technically awake, but your brain is existing in biological darkness.
That concept of biological darkness is key. We think office lights are bright, but functionally, they might only emit 300 to 500 lux of light intensity.
Lux being the measurement of light.
Right. Even on a cloudy, overcast day, outdoor light is usually around 10,000 lux.
Oh, wow.
Direct sunlight is closer to 100,000 lux. Your brain simply does not register indoor lighting as daytime.
So the solar panels never get the necessary voltage to reset the clock.
And as a result, your biological clock slowly drifts out of sync with the actual rotation of the Earth.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. Melatonin production doesn't shut down properly in the morning, leaving you with profound daytime fatigue and brain fog.
Ugh, the worst.
And because the clock never established a strong daytime anchor, the nighttime melatonin release becomes weak and fragmented, resulting in insomnia.
And the article directly connects this circadian disruption to severe psychological impacts, right?
It does.
When your rhythm is shattered, you aren't just tired. The text states that adequate sunlight actively protects our psychological health, acting as a buffer against anxiety states, severe insomnia, and broader mood disorders.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture of healthy aging, it makes total sense.
How so?
If you are chronically sleep deprived, your brain cannot clear out metabolic waste during the night.
Right.
If your circadian rhythm is flatlined, your daily cortisol curve is distorted, leading to systemic low-grade inflammation.
Which drives basically every chronic disease.
Exactly. By simply stepping into the light, you are physically synchronizing your entire neuroendocrine system.
So if I'm listening to this right now, I'm currently convinced.
I would hope so.
I understand the mechanics of the 3.3 billion daily burden. I understand the self-regulating genius of natural vitamin D synthesis.
Right.
I recognize that my brain needs 100,000 lux to know it's daytime. But I also haven't forgotten the 1.6 million dailies caused by UV damage.
Of course not.
So how do we synthesize all this biology into a daily actionable strategy? What is the healthy aging sunlight playbook?
Well, the guidelines provided by the source are incredibly pragmatic. They don't advocate for extremes in either direction.
That's refreshing.
The first and arguably most important rule is about timing your exposure. The goal is to tank up on sunlight in the morning hours.
Which perfectly aligns with the circadian mechanics we just discussed.
Exactly. Getting outside within the first hour or two of waking provides that massive influx of lux to the suprachiasmatic nucleus.
Resets the clock.
It halts the melatonin, sets the clock, and begins vitamin D synthesis, all while the angle of the sun is lower, meaning the most damaging, intense UVB rays are filtered through more of the Earth's atmosphere.
Okay. And the practical application of this isn't necessarily a massive time commitment, is it?
Not at all.
It's about shifting your existing friction. If you have an office job, don't drink your morning coffee at your kitchen island. Take the mug, step out onto the balcony, or take a 10-minute walk around the block before you get in the car.
Yes.
It's about intentional environmental exposure.
The second guideline addresses the peak danger zone.
Okay.
The text advises actively seeking shade during the most intense UV hours, which generally fall between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. This is when the sun is highest, the rays are most direct, and the risk of overwhelming the skin's defenses and causing cellular damage is at its absolute maximum.
So if you do take a lunch break, walk at 1 p.m., you shouldn't be seeking out an open field. You should be walking under a tree canopy.
Or utilizing the third guideline, which is deploying physical barriers.
Like clothing.
Exactly. The text is very clear that if extended exposure during peak hours is unavoidable, say, you work outdoors or you're on a weekend hike, you need to actively manage the radiation.
Right.
This means wearing protective, long-sleeved clothing, wide-brimmed hats, sunglasses to protect the retinas from cataracts, and applying high SPF sunscreen to exposed areas.
It's about protecting the skin once the biological needs have been met.
Precisely. And the final piece of the playbook is personalized vigilance.
What does that mean?
The article strongly recommends knowing your own risk factors. Are you very pale-skinned? Do you have a familial history of melanomas? Regardless of your skin type, incorporating regular skin cancer screenings with a dermatologist is presented as a non-negotiable aspect of healthy aging.
Makes sense.
It ensures that if any cellular damage does occur, it is caught and addressed immediately.
You know, there's a specific visual included in the My-Nutri-Diary article that I think perfectly distills this entire philosophy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's an illustration of someone sitting outside in a sun chair. They are wearing sunglasses, they are relaxing with a drink, and they are just allowing the sunlight to wash over them.
I love that.
And the caption essentially reads, "Produce your own vitamin D naturally, rather than relying on a pill."
It frames the environment not as a hostile force to be conquered or hidden from, but as a biological partner.
A partner, exactly.
It's a relationship based on respect and management, rather than pure avoidance.
So what does this all mean? It requires us to abandon the binary thinking of sun equals bad or sun equals good, and embrace the reality that the dose makes the poison. But the total absence of the dose is a slow starvation.
Which brings us to a rather profound realization when we look at the trajectory of modern society.
Oh, let's hear it.
If human biology is fundamentally anchored to the daily cycle of the sun,
Right.
if our bone density, our immune resilience, our sleep architecture, and our mental stability physically require the specific radiation and light intensity provided by our nearest star,
Yeah.
what are the long-term consequences of engineering our society to exist almost entirely indoors?
Wow. That is the multi-billion daily question, isn't it?
It really is.
When you look at the physical architecture of our lives, The sprawling windowless distribution centers, the subterranean transit systems, the deep floor plate office buildings lit entirely by artificial panels. We have essentially constructed an entirely novel habitat.
A completely alien habitat for our biology.
Right, a habitat that actively deprives us of the most critical regulatory input our bodies evolved to expect.
It forces us to ask how much of the modern epidemic of chronic illness, the insomnia, the anxiety, the osteoporosis, the autoimmune drift, is actually just a predictable symptom of this profound environmental mismatch.
It's a structural public health issue, really. But until the architecture changes, it requires a deeply personal behavioral response from you, the listener.
Absolutely.
We have to actively choose to reconnect with that environment. We have to be intentional about opening the blinds, taking the walk, and giving our biology the inputs it desperately needs to keep us healthy as we age.
Because the science is clear. The sun is your daily coach. You just have to show up for the session.
A perfect way to summarize it. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. The mission for tomorrow morning is clear. Check the weather, grab your coffee, step outside, take off the sunglasses for just a few minutes, let your brain know it's daytime, and keep learning. We'll catch you on the next one.